Greg Tarkington entered the office of his oncologist, Dr. Peter White. Greg was nervous. He had noticed that the MRI technician had been reluctant to make eye contact at the conclusion of the procedure earlier that morning. The resident, Dr. Bouchard, did the same. Greg sensed it meant bad news. After everything that Greg had been through, he knew the ground rules regarding ancillary personnel. Divulge nothing. But Dr. White couldn't hide behind that dictum, and finally he spilled the beans. "I'm afraid the MRI showed several questionable lesions in your liver. We aren't sure they're cancer metastases, so we will have to biopsy them, and we want to do it sooner rather than later." The doctor spoke calmly, as if discussing an ingrown toenail that needed treatment. At least, that's how it sounded to Greg. He was tired of being patronized. He was tired of the whole experience since he had first noticed that the whites of his eyes had turned yellow. That had been the very first symptom that started the nightmare. Then came the tests, the surgery, and the chemotherapy, which had been a torture. "So the pancreatic cancer is back." Greg's voice was accusatory. "Well, straight up, Doc. I don't have time for equivocation." Greg's worst fears were materializing. He wanted it all out. Now, no more false hopes. Dr. White sighed. "As we have discussed, it's a very difficult cancer to treat. Its location and anatomy are problematic. We have done the best we can. If the biopsy confirms that these new lesions are the same cancer, then we will have to be aggressive." "Will that mean more chemo?" "I'm afraid it does." "But the chemo is killing me. It already compromised my kidneys. I'm still undergoing dialysis, on a less frequent basis than before, but there are a lot of arrows left in our quiver, Greg. If more chemo is needed, we will choose agents that don't have kidney toxicity." "Like what?" Greg wanted specifics. His goddamn life was on the line. "I can't say exactly what that might be, not yet. Let's wait and see what we're up against." "How much time do I have?" Greg pressed. "The biopsy has yet to be done." "How much time if the biopsy is positive?" "I can't say." "Guess," he demanded. Dr. White was not going to get away with hemming and hawing, not today. "I've never been right when forced to give a guess in such a situation. But let's just say that it would be a good time to get your affairs in order. I'm sorry, Greg, but you're just going to have to buck up." The comment hung in the air. "Buck up," Greg repeated mockingly. "After all I've been through, and you're telling me to buck up? Worse, you're being evasive. But it's okay, I'll contact iDoc when I get home and get what I need." Greg knew he was being confrontational, something he hadn't done up until that moment. But now he didn't care. He was sitting on the business end of a death sentence. "I'm not being evasive. The answers to your questions are unknowns," Dr. White replied. He was aware that Greg was part of the first cohort to use iDoc. He'd been impressed with the app since the number of off-hour phone calls had dropped significantly. Emergency room visits and requests for office visits from others in the program had plummeted too. "But let me remind you that iDoc hasn't gotten the results of the MRI yet. I received the preliminary report by calling the radiology resident. When iDoc does receive the results, please let me know if it offers any new perspective. As I understand it, its algorithm has significant resources of knowledge available, so in the event that I'm missing anything, I would welcome hearing about it." He started making notes on a digital tablet. "But most important, we have to ascertain what these liver lesions are. We need to schedule a biopsy and a series of pre-biopsy clotting studies." "iDoc can do the clotting studies the morning of the biopsy," Greg said. "I'll give you the script anyway," Dr. White replied without looking up. He continued typing into his device. Greg had never felt so helpless. Even in the last go-round of chemo, he had always had hope. If hope was still alive anywhere inside him now, it was doing an excellent job of hiding. Greg's iDoc chimed in with a short selection of Bach's Cello Suite No. 1. The music normally had a calming effect on him, but not today. Recognizing that iDoc wanted to talk, Greg moved to a quiet corner of the hospital's hallway and clicked Answer on the app. His doctor immediately appeared.